Welcome to the Oakley Podcast, Trucking Business and Family. My name is Jeremy Kellett. I am Director of Recruiting here at Oakley Trucking, and I'm your host for this podcast. On this week's episode, we are going to get down in the weeds talking about some freight, what's going on here, how we run all these trucks. We got talk about customer service, what we expect, what some of these operation managers are dealing with every day. And to help me do that, I got Bradley Simpson with Pneumatics, Jason Webb with the end dumps. Had Russell coming, but he's so busy. He's just too busy to make time for the podcast.
Easy excuse what that is.
That's exactly another excuse.
Gun-shy.
So these guys, I mean, they know more than Russell anyway. Don't mean to throw you under the bus there, Russell, but you should have helped us. So, but no, this is something that we haven't done in a while. Once in a while, and this kind of more targets our owner-operators and to tell them what's going on and what the freight's like and the ups and downs and how we manage things in the office. It's always just a good communication thing to deal with our owner-operators, and that's what we're trying to do here. We haven't done it in a long time. I mean, it's probably been a year or two since we've talked about our business and the freight and what's going on exactly in the pneumatics, what's going on in the end dumps, because it's a lot to keep up with. So we're going to cover that. But first, sponsors as always, Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer. Man, I'm doing great. I talked to one of my recruits actually just yesterday, and he's fixing to buy a truck, and he's calling Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer to make sure they do their mechanic. They're really good because he wants to do business with them. So it's going a long way there. They got a great reputation. I have not heard one negative thing about Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer.
That's great.
Which is unusual, when you get talk about mechanic shops. I mean, a lot of drivers have some complaints about that, but not a one. So that's been great. And, of course, Keith with Arrow, he's always coming through. I think we had a couple guys here this week that have bought Arrow trucks, and Keith always gets them set up right. So, anyway, you guys definitely check out our sponsors. I mean, I always say we're very particular on who they are and what's going to happen, who we want to sponsor this show. And y'all check them out and give them your business. All right, fellas, let's get I guess let me kind of give the general public what we're doing here. So, we're going to talk not specific, of course, customers and all this, what we're doing, but I want to give them a general idea of what a operation manager does on a daily basis, along with a dispatcher. I mean, because you think about it, when I tell somebody, Oakley Trucking, we got 900 owner-operators, and the first thing they say is, how do you keep up with them?
Right.
I mean, it's how do you keep up with all of them? And it is a organized chaos, maybe, to do it.
No doubt about that. On a good day.
What is some of y'all's daily jobs, daily activities that you do to maintain that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're, a lot like the dispatcher. We're here to help the owner-operator do his job, and the way we do that is a little different than the dispatcher in terms that, me and Bradley aren't talking to the guys every single day, but we're right there in the middle of the fight with them. And, we've got, we're all looking at the same computer program, and, our role is, kind of to make sure that, we have the work for everybody, that we're getting new work, and that all the expectations are being met in terms of like safety, maintenance on the trailer, it's a big laundry list of stuff that needs to get done. So, and we just help out in that any way we can.
Good. Well, I mean, it's a big responsibility, and you guys been doing it a long time. How long have you been here, Jason?
I've been here just over 20 years. Started in February of 2005.
Did you been in dispatch the whole time, dispatching operation?
Yeah, I started out dispatch trucks for probably 10, 11 years, something like that, and then kind of moved on into a different role. And, each role has challenges, and each role has a bunch of rewards, but like I said earlier, we all sit in the same open building same open room for a reason, because we're all trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's to make as much money as we can, have as few problems as we can, and then when we have problems, to address them and get them dealt with.
How long have you been here, Bradley?
16 years as of March.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you guys got a little seniority here.
Been around a bit.
Been here a bit. So
Doesn't seem like it.
No. And you've done the same, hadn't you? Dispatch and
Yeah.
operations the whole
Yeah,
time,
whole
and
time.
pneumatic tanks.
Yep.
Did you ever do dumps?
Never,
You've always been in
never
pneumatics.
dispatched a dump. I did hoppers for 6 months when I started, and then
Okay.
moved to pneumatics and been there ever since.
Well, you ought to know it inside and
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So, general, what's the freight look like, guys? I mean, honestly, where are we at as far as business wise?
I think as far as the end dumps, I think we're really steady and have a lot of work to work towards, and stuff to do on a weekly basis. We've got a lot of barge work we've been doing here lately. I think probably the first part of the year it was slow. Things kind of got off to a slow start, but starting in, I think, February. February was a little more busier than January, and it just kind of has progressively gotten busier.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of, when I was thinking about this today, I was kind of liking it to a football game. I don't even hardly watch the first half of a football game.
Right.
Now, that's important, but I've always been kind of a second half guy, and so my expectations and hopes are that the second half of this year is going to be just fantastic.
Generally, that's the way it is.
Yeah, most years that's how it goes.
Yeah. What about pneumatics, Bradley?
Yeah. Pneumatics, I mean, really we started off rolling good, still doing it, hadn't slowed down a bit. You have your normal little lulls around the holidays, but we hadn't checked up. There's plenty of opportunity that we can't pursue like we want to. We could use 20, 30 drivers right now, pick a spot, and it's a good spot to be. So the work is there. We just got to get some guys on board to pull the tanks and help us do it.
I think that's people think you can max out. You've got, we don't have enough work for all the trucks, and y'all are no way. No, it's there's so much bulk freight out there that we haven't even touched. Don't y'all have that feeling? There's just so much opportunity to grow.
Oh yeah.
Well, and our, the owner operators that are listening, they can tell you more than we can probably, because they go to all these places and they're out there every day and they see it. When we're out there, we've been out a few times over the last month or so and going to visit customers, and you pull in there and you see all kinds of different people that aren't pulling Oakley trailers. And you have a certain feeling depending on where you're at on that, and it motivates you, and there's just a ton of opportunity.
Central Arkansas Trucking Trailer strives to take care of our owner-operators as quickly and accurately as possible. As a family-owned and operated company, they understand and value the importance of relationships just like we do. That is why Oakley owner-operator Joe Williams continues to return to their shop for service on his truck.
I've been with Oakley Trucking for 2 years in this April, first-time owner-operator. It was a shock, the maintenance and the repairs on it, because I've never done anything like this before. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to try that Central Arkansas truck and trailer, because they're so convenient. They're right there off the interstate, right down the road from Oakley Trucking. And I talked to Nathan, and being an owner-operator, he tries to get the owner-operators in and out as quick as possible, because he knows if we're not rolling, we're not making money. If they tell me they can get my truck in at a certain time, they get it in at a certain time. If they tell me, well, it'll be ready at this time, it's ready at that time. So I can really count on them. They're competitive with anybody around, probably better than most.
Next time your truck needs service, give Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer a call at 501-568-2185 and let them know you heard it here on the Oakley Podcast. What's some of the biggest challenges y'all face on a daily basis? What do you say in the pneumatics, Bradley?
Biggest challenges. I mean, there's several of them. It's kind of hard not to go back to, just having enough trucks, drivers, owner-operators to be able to take care of all the requests that we get, whether it's from people we've never heard from or people that we have worked for ever since I've been here. There's just so much that, you hear of stuff from customers you've worked for forever, and it's just like, man, where'd that come from? We didn't even know you had that. There's just so much opportunity that we feel like we miss out on, just because we don't have enough owner-operators to take care of it.
Yeah, so it's hard to turn down freight, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
because we've been that's been instilled in us is let's take it and we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
before we go home. It's something we've done forever, and it's just
it's an ongoing battle. It's been a battle ever since I started.
Yeah,
it's just hard to handle it all and do it the right way. Whether that be the right way for the driver, instead of begging them to do something extra, or whether it's not mess up what you've already got, for your customers. It's a balance to keep the driver happy, customer happy. And
so y'all are, when you come in every day, first thing you're probably seeing what is screwed up overnight. Hopefully there's no challenges, fires to put out as soon as you walk in.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're basically making sure y'all are staying a couple days ahead, aren't you?
Yeah, that's when it works the best, is when you're able to get ahead of the truck. So, we come in and, usually, hopefully, if there's a fire to put out, we kind of already know about it.
Yeah.
What you don't see a lot of times is, we get up and leave and go home at 5 o'clock, and then there's some back and forth amongst dispatch at night or early in the morning on the way to work on what we need to fix or what's gone wrong. And so, that's a challenge, and it's an opportunity at the same time to correct stuff and get stuff right. And then, once you get that done, then, you're looking forward. Who needs a load today? Let's get that done. Where are we going to be tomorrow?
So your dispatchers pretty much, they try to minimize the deadhead. They've got the freight in the computer. They're trying to get the closest truck to where they minimize deadhead. That's hard for y'all to do because you're trying to book for the next day and the next day and try to keep that going to stay ahead, like I said, stay ahead of the trucks.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, I know it's a challenge because I see you guys over there hollering at me for trucks, hollering at dispatch. It is. But, how many customers you think we actually got?
Man, we were looking today.
How many we bill in a year, you think?
I think it's somewhere around 1,100.
Wow.
But, and here's the opportunity. We were talking about this today. We had a list on the computer, one of our programs we've got, and it had every active customer, that was active that we either billed or shipped to or loaded out, something. And if you click a box, it brings up all the inactive customers. And that number was like triple.
So that's somebody we've done business with in the past at some point.
And the way our computer is set up, we didn't buy that computer program with all those customers in there. Somebody at some point put that in the computer.
We did a load for them at some
somebody
point.
had some sort of relationship with that person somehow,
So what you're saying is that's just still untouched.
Yeah.
That we could go back to.
Yeah.
And that's people we've heard of. There's people that call in every week, and it's like, I've never heard of these people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's somebody that's changed their name, or they're somebody that used to work here or worked somewhere that we worked with, or
don't you think just being in business as long as we have and the reputation we've created
absolutely
generates a ton of business?
No doubt.
Yeah, word of mouth for sure.
These customers know what kind of owner operators we have.
Oh yeah.
It's I think that because early on in the days, we didn't always have loads.
Right.
Back in the late 90s, it was a battle, struggle, to find loads, to, get them 100 trucks moving, and then you just keep getting more customers and more customers and more customers. You get to build up that reputation, and they want to use you. They know they can count on us.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm assuming that's why we've got over 1,000 customers.
Yeah.
And not all our eggs in one basket that a lot of trucking companies do have.
Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you talked about challenges earlier. The key to all that is communication. And that's probably our biggest challenge every day, whether it's covering a load, taking care of a driver, taking care of a customer, fill in the blank, is communication. It seems like the more methods we get to communicate, the less communication goes on. Right?
Right.
You can't hardly get anybody to answer the phone anymore. Everybody wants to email or FaceTime or whatever the new thing is. But that's what's gotten over 1,000 customers for us, and that's what's gotten us over 900 owner-operators. And it sounds really simple, and, why aren't we listening to this podcast to hear something so simple? But it's true. It's 100% true. The communication from the owner-operator to the dispatcher to operations to safety, recruiting, man, that's the key to it. And that's the biggest challenge right now.
Well, we talk about it every week. Meetings, talk about communication constantly. We have talked about that for 30+ years. That's got to be the key, and you got to keep doing it. But it's not always easy to do. I guess we, not all of us are real good at it. How hard is it? How much harder is it now to book a load than it was 10 years ago?
Wow. Because
that's something I don't
it's
think
incredibly
people are
hard. Not really hard, but it's just, you just want to be like, just tell me where I go.
Yeah.
Tell me where I take it.
Down.
What am I getting?
Yeah.
So what do they make you do now?
There's a portal, a website for everything, and you go in, you get emails about it, you get phone calls about it, and then once you know about it and say okay, then you go accept it, and it either automatically will come into your system, which is great, but then a lot of times you accept it, you look at the website, and you kind of cross-reference, put it in the computer, make sure everything on our end matches what they have on their website. You have to set appointment times on there. You have to complete it, show that it did deliver and report times and stuff. And it's a lot more clicks and emails and calls just to get a load done than there used to be. Just the old-fashioned tell me what to do type of deal.
Yeah. Put it in a computer.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got to get paid. And
that's a
and that's another website and another click, and
all the payments go through that stuff too.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
And so that's a challenge. And the fortunate thing for owner operator with Oakley is they're getting paid every week. They're not waiting for an invoice to get paid, and so that's but that's just more kind of the world we live in. It's just more websites and portals and tracking data, and here's a website for this.
And it'd be a whole lot easier if you just pick up the phone.
Oh yeah.
But that's a whole nother episode. What is there? We touched on a little bit earlier, but do you think? Is there a lot of competition in the bulk business?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt that there is. You see stuff always changing hands of carriers and changing hands of suppliers, different products. You'll see the same, we'll just say a refinery, for example, have 2 or 3 different suppliers that supply that product to them, reaching out to us. They're all trying to get it, so it'll bounce around from different people, and you do it for all of them. It's kind of crazy to see all the competition on that side of it too, but definitely carriers. There's no doubt in that with like you said, if you go out over the road, get out of this office and go see some customers, I mean, you see the competition. It's everywhere.
Y'all doing that much, getting out?
Here lately, yeah, we have a lot. We've been to, me personally, been to Georgia, been to Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana.
Does that work?
I think it does. I mean, you don't usually go in and somebody gives you every load they've got and it's all good. There's a lot of follow-up, but the biggest thing is relationships and building that with the people, and I think that's still valid and still will get you somewhere with folks. Even in an age where no one answers the phone and everybody wants to email and text and FaceTime or whatever there is, but that's mainly what a lot of that's about is building a relationship, and you always learn something new. You get talking and you start talking about everything that Oakley has to offer. And by Oakley, I mean Bruce Oakley, big tent. And inevitably you learn something, or they learn something about you. There's times still where we'll go in and see somebody and they'll say just for example, we've got loads every week out of Illinois to Tennessee. And we're like, yeah, we're up there about every day of the week. And it never fails. Someone will say, well, we just thought you all ran around in Arkansas. And it's 2025. You know, it's like, so
I've been doing business with them for a long time.
Yeah, so, and you see people and they're so dialed into what they're doing. And if you get them away from their computer for a while and start having a conversation with them, get to know them, well, then you start learning some stuff about them and what they do and what else they do and how you can help them. And that's, it's successful.
Well, I mean, getting in front of people has always worked for us. I mean, it seems like people are trying to get away from it, a little bit. Don't want you to come see them, but inevitably, when you do get in front of them, it makes a difference.
Oh yeah,
and you learn something, just like you said, and they learn something about us. Mm-hmm. We don't do enough of that, but when we do, it's successful for sure. What do you think we do different than our competition to make us a notch above our competition?
I think, and this is for all the divisions, we talked earlier about communicating, and I hate to go back and beat a dead horse, but that's one big thing. And you hear that, you go, like you said, you go see these people and talk to them. That's what they say. You guys are, on time, do what you're supposed to do. But the big thing is when something happens, because something inevitably is going to happen, mm-hmm. you communicate. And
you hear a lot of examples, some opportunities that may get thrown at us, and customer will tell you, this didn't happen by such and such, and we haven't heard from them, or we didn't hear from them until 2 days after, they were supposed to be here. When I hear that, it blows my mind. I just think, how can somebody operate like that without telling somebody? So yes, communication for sure. Yeah. And that goes back to the, getting to know who you're talking to. Because you get to know them, you go see them. You may talk to them about baseball or golf, and when you do all that, it makes it easier to be like, hey, I got an issue. I know you don't want to hear this, but here I am. Yeah. Because, it's going to happen. It happens every day.
Because not all of them are price motivated, are they?
No. They start that way, and then they realize maybe it's worth it, because it's going to get done the way we want it. So,
well, and they're just like us, and just like, our owner-operators and anybody that's listening that has some sort of business, they want to make as much money as they can and have as few problems as they can, and there's a balance there. They want a good price, but, a lot of people just don't want problems. They want to get stuff off their desk and move on to something else. And, I think that's one of the things that sets us apart is, we don't cause that many problems. And when something does happen, we handle it quickly and handle it like it ought to be handled and own our mistakes. And
well, that's what you're selling to them, right?
Yeah.
When you try to get this freight, you're telling them, hey, we take care of business. We're going to be on time. We're going to do it exactly the way you want it done. I mean, that's what you're selling.
Right.
And then you're just hoping that
nothing pops up in the middle.
They show up right,
Right.
you know, and take care of it, because it's always. But man, we got such good owner operators that I mean,
yeah.
y'all get a lot of compliments on them, don't you?
You bet.
All
Absolutely.
the time.
What's some of the common compliments you get?
Man, I've got one kind of specific. We were down in Baton Rouge about a month ago at a fundraiser for Nucor Steel, and we do some work for a contractor that is in that plant, and we have about 5 or 6 trucks that run in and out of there every single day out of that Nucor plant. And we were just sitting around, mainly talking to the folks that we work directly for, and they work for Nucor, so we're all kind of working for Nucor in a roundabout way. And the folks that run this company that we work for, they're out of Ohio. They're based out of Ohio. And so we're down there kind of talking to the people we talk to every day. They're on the ground there in Louisiana. And these couple guys come up, and turns out they're the head cheese of this company. They're the guys. And everyone kind of stands up straight, and everyone's looking, and me and Dylan from reserves down there with me, and we don't know him from Adam.
Right.
And so we introduce ourselves, and they're like, "Oh, this is our president." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, man, it's great to meet you. Thanks for letting us work for you."
Yeah.
And the guy said, his exact first words came out of his mouth were, I never hear a word about you guys. And so I'm thinking, well, that kind of stinks. But then, he kind of went on to explain, in the past, it was every week. Our carrier did this, or somebody did that, ran over this, or tore this up, or there's just constant problems. And this guy's like, man, in the year and a half y'all been down here, I don't think I've heard a word about you guys.
Great compliment.
Yeah.
That's what he meant.
Yeah. And, he was just, and then, the guys that were there on the ground on site, they just piled on. Like, man, these guys, and so me and Dylan are sitting there and just soaking it up.
Head swelling.
Yeah. So inevitably, you think, well, next week we're going to run over something.
Something's going to happen. Yeah.
Something's going to happen.
Tear something up
Yeah.
next week.
And so, a few days later, I think it was on the weekend, I got a text, and I think I sent it to you or sent it to some other guys. And it was from one of these guys with this company. And so he's texting you on like a Saturday, and you're like, oh, man, what's this about? And he had sent us a picture and this big, long explanation, and, we won't get too much in the weeds, but basically one of our owner-operators that does this every day, they had made some change and were loading different product over at Nucor, and he came over, and there's a lot that goes into this stuff about moisture and keeping the stuff at a certain moisture content, and the easy thing for the guy would have been just to dump it out in the middle of the yard. But our guy was heads up and saw what they were doing on the other end and where they were operating and pulling product from, and went over and dumped in the correct pile and saved them 15, 20 minutes. And so this guy was just texting saying, man, you guys get it. Your guys, owner-operators, are top-notch, and we couldn't be happier.
That's a good one. Good example.
Yeah.
You get that in pneumatics too, Bradley?
Yeah.
Because y'all got typically got a lot more rules to follow.
Yeah. Lots of rules
procedures.
and, stuff that you got to do in these big plants. And, there's lots of room for error, whether it be plant side or on our side as well. And, there's some struggles with unloading some materials at times, just depending on the situation. And I can't remember the exact example, but it was not long ago, we just got thanked for, we appreciate your guy that's here. He's been here so long. We appreciate his good attitude, how he understands, that this is how it goes sometimes, you know. So you get that all the time, and just how you know, polite and presentable they are when they are at the customer site. You know, because you hear horror stories a lot outside of us, you know, of things that happen, and you know what kind of equipment that they're showing up with, and you know, stuff like they can't unload the trailer, like they just can't do it. They don't have people that work for that company that can unload it. Can y'all help us and show how to do it? You know, stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's that, again, that's a mind-blowing thing, but it's good to hear that, you know, because we just got so many good guys that make it easy for, you know, for us.
Yeah, and that I tell them in orientation, I said, you guys don't understand how much money you're going to make yourself, as far as you're going to make the company, because by doing things right, great customer service, and knowing what you're doing, and, you know, not being in it for just yourself, but you're in it to take care of the customer. I said that just creates more opportunity for us. You know, it creates customers wanting us to come back. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what we try to do. I mean, how many times have we got price cut out of a contract, and then
here they come?
Yeah.
You know, a few months later, 6 months later.
Yep.
You know, hey, we're eating crow.
Yeah. We thought this was a good idea, but no.
Yeah. And I mean, that's happened. Oh, good Lord, a bunch of times over the years. That's because we preach that customer service, and I mean, ultimately, our owner-operator, it's in their hands. I mean, I tell you know, we talk about it in orientation. I mean, we're selling you guys. We're selling you to be the best. You know, we're selling you. That's why we have such high expectations of owner-operators that we're not going to lease just anybody on.
Yeah.
I mean, and it comes with the clean cut, the hygiene, the attitude, the language. What's the truck look like? What's the trailer look like? Mm-hmm. And you know, to put yourself in owner-operator shoes, they're in a different place every day.
Yeah.
They're going to a different place with different rules every day. They got to be on their game every day, you know, and that can get, I can see where you can get in a pattern, you know, and you can kind of let your guard down once in a while if you ain't careful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, we just can't stress enough how important it is to be on that every day, because, I mean, a lot of times they don't know if this is the first load going into this place, or hey, did the guy screw up that just came in here before, right, and I got to make this up. I mean,
right,
that communication would be great from the dispatch if we would do better at that. But, you know, I mean, it's you guys have got a tough battle every day. I mean, trying to piece it together, make sure owner-operators make money. I mean, make sure the company's making money and making sure we're growing.
Yeah, well, and it's a huge opportunity, and it's rewarding, you know, at the end of the week. You know, you get in some weeks, you're like, man, are we making any money this week? And inevitably, it always works out. Yeah. That's kind of the thing, you know, when you get, especially you get kind of a newer guy in the office working dispatching, you know, and you can tell they're just sweating.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, man, just keep working. It's going to work out. It's going to be.
It don't look like it right then, though.
Right. No, it doesn't. And I'm sure there's been plenty of owner-operators that say, yeah, I've been on the other end of that phone, and I'm not sure how this is going to work out, you know, but it does, you know, and it takes a lot of hard work from those guys out on the road every day and doing the little stuff every day that you don't really get recognized for and told you're doing a good job. You know, that's the other thing, you know, we got to work better on, you know, because there's so many things that go right and so many guys that do the right stuff every day that no one knows about, you know, and they do stuff that no one ever sees that has built this company.
Well, it's just like, okay, their truck pulling our trailer. Mm-hmm. So they're doing a job out there that none of us have ever done.
Right.
And the majority, we're doing a job in here that the majority of them have never done. Mm-hmm. I was just on the phone with one of our owner-operators earlier and talking about how I don't understand what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know how that works. I don't know, you know, how dispatch, gets paid. I don't know how things, and and it made me realize, they don't know what all goes on in here. From the whole thing, recruiting, accounting, safety. I mean, it's a whole big deal. But it takes confidence in each one because we trust that they know what they're doing out there. I mean, we got to. Yeah. Because we can't do it.
No, ain't no way.
I mean, there ain't no way. And they just got to trust what we're doing in here. And then you got a partnership there that's you got to try to make work.
Oh yeah.
Two different. You got to rely on each other, and that's not always easy to do.
No.
They say partnership's the only ship doesn't sail. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Something like that. But we're making it work.
Oh yeah.
We're rolling.
Yeah, and that's the key to it. That driver and owner operator and dispatcher relationship. Ever since I've been here, that's what's grown and how we've grown the number of trucks is that relationship working.
Yep.
It's got to work.
Got to.
And it does. It does for about 900.
At Aero Truck Sales in Springfield, Missouri, they take the hassle out of buying and selling semi-trucks. No matter the manufacturer, the style of cab, or the type of engine under the hood, they can make you a fair offer on your semi-truck with no games or gimmicks. They carry trucks from all the major manufacturers in the trucking industry and perform a thorough inspection of every truck on their lot to ensure safety and quality and give you confidence that you're getting a reliable truck that will last you for years at a price that you can afford. Aero has partnered with Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast for years and are proud to provide our owner-operators with trucks that meet Oakley's qualifications and each owner-operator's specific needs. So whether you're a first-time owner-operator or just looking for a change of scenery, give Keith Wilson a call at 573-216-6047 and let them know you heard it here on the Oakley Podcast.
Touch on just a little bit of a lot of people don't realize Brooks Oakley Incorporated, like you said earlier, the big picture here, as we call Big Mama, Brooks Oakley. And you got the different divisions, the grain, fertilizer, barge, the different ports. Does that play a part in you guys' business every day?
Oh, yeah.
Does it?
Every day.
Give you an advantage?
It does.
Yeah.
It provides a lot of work. We just here in Little Rock, we load barges right here at our North Little Rock terminal every day of the week, and it ranges from 5 or 6 trucks to the other day we had about 30 in here doing stuff, and we're kind of doing the same thing over in Catoosa. They've got barge work over there and, loading and unloading barges, and we're really making some ground in St. Louis, doing a lot. We talked about the deal down in Reserve, guys running the dedicated deal. So yeah, it's a good selling tool. When we talked earlier, going out visiting customers, you talk to them and you're like, hey, we can offer, we've got rail, we've got barges, we've got terminals. We got this guy that can get you a vessel of stuff from anywhere in the world. Don't ask me about it because I don't have a clue.
But I'll truck it when it gets over here.
Yeah. But there's so much opportunity in that, and working with Oakley Fertilizer, hauling fertilizer and salt and the grain. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, that's the same for us. On the pneumatic side, it provides the same opportunities with stuff right here in Arkansas, and you name anywhere with the barge stuff too. I mean, it's created a lot of work for us, and with the transloading capabilities we have and the rail access for the products that we bring in on rail and keep here and take it. I mean, you name it where we go with it. It definitely it's huge.
Come a long way.
It's great to be able to offer and tell people that you can do all that.
What's the future look like?
Man, future's bright.
Exciting, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I wish I was about 25.
Yeah, I know it. I know. I feel like it.
Yeah, I feel like
I just don't look like it.
Yeah, no, I don't. Either.
I don't operate like it.
No, but yeah.
But I mean, don't you? I mean, can you imagine these young guys in here, the opportunity they got coming up?
Man, yeah.
I mean, it's. They're fortunate to have the machines already built.
Yeah.
we built a machine, years and years, and we feel like, we went through the tough time of building the machine. Now you got a machine, you just got to maintain it.
You bet. And grow it.
And grow it.
And
keep
doing
going.
the things.
And coming up with new ideas.
Yeah.
Coming up. I could tell you how many ideas I've been shot down on me, over the years. But, hey, you just got to keep plugging away.
Yeah, got to throw them out there.
Yeah.
You got to catch them at the right time when you bring them up.
That's
too.
what it is, yeah. I'll tell you another, but a key ingredient to this all that we never really think about much, and they don't never get enough praise, and that's our shop on this yard and down in reserve. The guys in the wash bay, the guys in the wet kit bay, the guys in the trailer shop, the parts, the guys down in reserve that do that every day.
Yeah,
Hot, cold.
and we're always calling, asking favors,
Asking
begging,
yeah.
Hey, we need this quick. Come on, can you help me? And they do it. Jump on it.
And sometimes we call and we don't even really know what we need.
We're just hoping
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah. Can you look at this?
Yeah.
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 Oh, man, those guys are miracle workers.
They are. They can, sometimes they can fix stuff over the phone.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but they've done it.
Yeah.
It just, those guys just totally, we count on them. So, they have spoiled us.
Yeah.
To say the least. They've spoiled us, and it's something that does not get enough recognition for sure. So,
Yeah. Amen.
yeah. Anything else to add, guys? I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the second half.
Man, yeah, guys, just keep, if you're out there listening, thank you so much for everything you do.
Yeah.
Keep it up. We don't say it enough. If you got any issues, please call us. We're, like I said from the start, our role here, me and Bradley and Jeremy and everybody has a role here, but the main focus is helping you do your job because, it starts and ends with you. So, please, if you got anything, please call us.
Yep. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate y'all watching this episode. I hope it'll help you learn a little bit more about what takes place here behind the scenes, up in the middle of dispatch, and just how hard these guys work for you too. So keep that in mind. If you got any questions about anything on this episode, give me a call, email me, text me. We'll try to get you an answer. Appreciate y'all watching. We'll talk to you next week.